Time to get started. Just want to make sure you can hear me okay. Kathleen, it's all good um, with the audio and the video.
Yeah, you sound great. You look great. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly. Excellent. So
Great.
Kathleen and I, so first thing I'm going to do is introduce Kathleen. That's the other person just below me on the screen who's going to be your host for this trip. And then Kathleen and I are going to tell you all about everything you need to know to prepare for your trip to Thailand. Yeah, packing, and we're going to talk about communications, and we're going to talk about money and all the fun stuff. I'll touch on what's going to happen when you arrive into Bangkok, or for those that are not joining our pre-trip to Koh Samui. And then I'll just mention a few things about the trip, what to expect, what's going to happen. I'm not going to go into the itinerary in great detail. By now, you will have obviously reviewed, you know what's awaiting you. But the most important thing of all is to get any questions that you have answered, any questions that you might have arising out of what we talk about on this webinar, or something that's been on your mind about what you need to know about Thailand. So that is what today's agenda is. And I want to start off by introducing Kathleen, who is going to be your host, who I know is just as excited about coming to Thailand as you all are. Welcome, Kathleen. And yeah, please say a few words.
Sure. I'm really excited. It's my first time going to that area of Thailand. So I'm also very excited to get out of our Ontario winter. So so I'm organized, I'm ready to go. And I look forward to meeting everybody. I think we're going to have a fantastic time. Um, So my role as a host is to make sure everything runs smoothly for you, from coordinating logistics, making sure you're getting from the airport to the right places, helping everybody stay connected, and helping with all the small details that allow us to relax and have a really great experience. We'll have guides on the ground, so they are the experts on the area. And it looks like we're also going to be staying in some really fabulous hotels and locations with some excellent excursions. And I'm hoping to do every single one of them. Um,
You
so,
sure are.
yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm really excited. I just reviewed everything this morning again in detail and watched all the webinars, and I'm very excited. But I just wanted to let you know that I think you have received information about Telegram. My handle on Telegram is at cat, capital K-A-T underscore Adams, A-D-A-M-S. So please reach out to me on Telegram because we have a group chat that's already set up and ready to go. So you can put any questions in there for me or for anybody else in the group, and also maybe get to know other people, because as on other trips, I've had people meet each other at the airport and travel together even. And the other thing is there'll be a channel on there that is my one-way communication to you about any news or anything exciting that is happening. So if you can do that, I will add you to those right away.
Excellent, and we'll delve into a little bit more detail on that in just a couple of minutes. But yeah, that is the most important. Get Telegram set up. Get in touch with
Mhm.
Kathleen. That
Yeah.
way, there's bi-directional communication, and you'll be all set to go. So let's talk about some of the other things that you need to know to get ready for your trip to Thailand. And First thing is, I'll just mention about your the documentation that's required. Well, documentation, there isn't much. Well, there is one thing that you need to do, but the most important thing you need to do is make sure that you've got your passport. You don't need a visa per se, but you do need a so-called digital arrival card, and I'll tell you about that in a second. Make sure it's a good idea always to make sure that your passport is valid for at least 6 months after the date that you arrive. So obviously, this trip starts at the end of January, so you want to make sure it's good until the end of July at least. And if it's not, well, you better scramble to get to get a new passport. They're not so picky about it in Thailand, but you know that is kind of a general rule for a lot of countries. It should also have two blank pages in it. Again, not my experience has been I tend to often fill up my passport with stamps, and they've never given me a problem with Thailand as long as there's enough room for the stamp on the way in and the stamp on the way out. That'll make them happy. I do tend to keep a copy of my passport, either either a photocopy, or I'll just make a photo of it with my phone. So that way, should you need the information on your passport at any time, you don't have to physically carry it around with you. You just want to leave it in the safe at the hotels. That is the best place for it. And the otherwise, documentation wise, the old adage was always money, tickets, and passport. Well, money these days is digital. Tickets are also digital. A passport is about the only important thing. And of course, your phone. It really is important to take the phone. Most of us do anyway because it's more of a camera than a phone. It's more like a camera that you can talk on, or that you can send emails on. Let me talk for a second about the Thailand digital arrival card. This is something relatively new. They just introduced it earlier this year, and so it's like almost every country is introducing these things now. Europe is in the process of doing so, but Australia, New Zealand, I mean, all over the place. Basically, you go online to the site, and it's in the documentation we provided. There's a few questions: your name, your address, your passport number, where you're staying. So you can just take the name of the first hotel, and all the information that we have provided you is all you need. It's a pretty simple form, and you submit it. There's no cost to it, and it will pretty much immediately send you confirmation in a PDF format that you can save on your phone, or you can just make a screenshot of it. Um, Here's my experience, and I literally just arrived in Thailand yesterday, and that the immigration authorities don't even look at it. So they have a system; they're not actually looking at it, but. Because it is in the Timatic system, which is what the airlines do, the airlines are always the one that are double checking you have the correct documentation before you even get on the plane. They will ask for it and to say, "Oh, have you got your digital arrival card?" So it's more important to have it at the airport, because, as I say, at immigration they have implemented this system, but they don't really seem to be doing anything with it. But that's how it is sometimes in this part of the world. So please do have that done, and ready to go. And oh, you can only do it within 3 days of arrival. That's the other catch to it. So you can't do it now. You can only do it basically on the 25th, maybe four, but go in the 24th, 25th, check and see. Um, but as I say, it's instantaneous. So it's actually it's one of the better ones in terms of it's not that complicated. I've never heard of anybody not getting it the moment they press submit. Let's move on to the more important part. What do you need to pack for Thailand? Kathleen, why don't you start off sort of with the general idea of what's good to bring on this trip?
Sure. So we're looking at really nice, hot, humid weather. So 29 to 31 in the days and 23 to 24 at night. So I would suggest just bringing lots of lightweight layers, something a little warmer for air conditioning or on the plane, and as well as something for rain, because I don't think there's a lot of rain around the time we're going, but there may be some. And definitely bring your bathing suit, bikinis, sun hats, sun shirts, and even a rash guard is great for wearing while we're snorkeling or in the water.
Yeah.
Otherwise, casual, maybe something nice for going out for a couple of dinners and comfortable shoes.
That's basically the bottom line. It's pretty easy. It's like
Hmm.
essentially like any other beach holiday. The only thing you just want to keep in mind, and I'm sure you'll have it anyway, you are going to visit some temples, some
Oh, yeah.
beautiful, some ornate Buddhist temples. Um, it is appreciated. They're not. This has been one of the things I like about Thailand is they're not super. How should we say anal retentive about it, but it is respectful to, particularly for women, to wear something that covers the knees and covers the shoulders. That's kind of what expected attire is in Thailand. In fact, pro tip: if you ever should go into a government office, is not unlikely that you would in Thailand, but even the post office, anywhere. in Thailand. It is considered disrespectful to sort of go in short shorts and a t-shirt. So I know because I live in Thailand for part of the year that if I'm gonna go to the post office or if I'm gonna go over to the to one of these government offices, I'm going to dress a little bit more modesty because that's what the Thais do, and it is just very much appreciated. Um, as Kathleen pointed out, it is the dry season. The wet season ends, well, hopefully today. We saw a few drops of rain today, but it pretty much is fading out as we get to the end of January. But the last couple of years has brought rain showers in the middle of what is otherwise the dry season. So you never know. Climate change is bringing all kinds of surprises. Uh, and when it does rain here, today we had a light drizzle, but sometimes it's a true downpour. But if anything, what I could tell you is that if it does rain, it typically will rain like cats and dogs for 20 minutes and then it'll be gone and then the sun will come out. That's what tropical rain showers are like. And it's casual. Now, the only other thing to keep in mind, the voltage here is 220, but pretty much in Thailand, they use those multinational plugs. So a North American plug will plug in. My laptop right now is plugged into regular stuff from home and the European plug. So you shouldn't need an adapter. But sometimes I have seen places that still have only the European style, the two-prong plugs. So if you have an adapter, not a bad idea to bring it along. But it is 220 volts. So that is not a factor for most of your electronic devices, your phone chargers, your camera chargers, all that stuff is dual voltage in this day and age. But if you're bringing anything somewhat unusual, if you're bringing a hearing aid and you bring the charger, sometimes those are single voltage. If you're bringing a heating appliance, like uh, yeah, hair dryer or curling iron or something like that. Sometimes those are only on 110 volts. So if it's anything other than one of your electronic gadgets, just double check and make sure because if you did want to bring it, you would need to get a voltage converter, which actually is like a little transformer that changes the voltage from 110 to 220. Otherwise, you would blow it up. So when in doubt, double check that. And I think that's about it. You covered pretty much everything, Kathleen. I think,
Okay. Can I just ask you a quick question? What about
yeah.
footwear? What about footwear in the temples?
So, okay, an excellent question. Not just the temples. When you go into temples, but also when you go into people's homes and even some shops, you remove your shoes. So going into a sort of a private sphere in Thailand, you remove your shoes, and because it's tropical, it means you're in bare feet. You could go sock feet, but you must remove your shoes. So I like footwear that is easy to take on and take off. I must be perfectly honest. In Thailand, I wear flip flops 95% of the time. Because that's the easiest. Tivas work, any kind of open toed footwear works just fine. You should have, however, closed toe footwear, first of all, because you're going to need stuff to go on the plane. And, for if you're going to do any of the, walks up a waterfall or something like that, then having closed toe footwear. But as I say, you'll catch me 95% of the time in flip flops. Water shoes is the only other thing you might consider bringing. You are on a beautiful sand beach, and there are sometimes corals and stuff in the beach. On the beach you're in, I don't know. I would go bare feet in that beach, but you might visit other beaches. For example, if you're on the Koh Phangan to the island where I'm at, you're going to go out in a longtail boat. The first beach is also a sand beach. The second beach, there is a little bit of coral in the beach. You know what? Water shoes. Why not? Protect your feet. If you've got them, bring them. But I wouldn't sweat it. I wouldn't go out and you can buy a cheap pair. I think my last pair I bought on Temu for like $10. Nothing fancy. So good point. Thanks for raising that. Um, will you touch on money for a second, Kathleen, and I'll
Oh,
add
sure.
anything that I feel is
Yeah. Yeah. So the local currency is the baht. So it is approximately $1 to sorry, it's
yeah, 23 baht to about roughly 23
23
Thai
baht
baht is
to
$1.
$1. So
Yeah.
and I've been keeping an eye on the conversion rates, and they all seem pretty. It seems like it stayed at 23, 22 for a while.
Yeah,
Um, and so credit cards are accepted as everywhere else in the world, and ATMs are readily available. I would keep some small cash for the markets and for tips because there will be some things you want to buy that will not take a credit card. And
exactly. Yeah.
yeah. So Gordon, I don't know, is there anything else about cash that you need to add?
Yeah, like credit cards are accepted in the hotel and in a lot of the bigger restaurants, but if you want to go, Thailand is famous for its street food and its markets, and so you will hopefully have a chance to visit, one of the night markets, or just one of the day markets. There's sort of markets everywhere. Those kind of places transact in cash, so you're gonna go and buy some spring rolls at a stand or a chicken satay or something like that. It's 20 baht. It's like $1 Canadian. They won't take credit cards for transactions like that. So some cash is necessary. Getting it from the ATM is the only way to do it. Please do not try to get Thai baht from the bank at home. They'll look at you sideways and then they'll charge you a ridiculous exchange rate. It's not even worth it. It's not worth it to do it at the exchange. Honestly, the moment you land at Bangkok airport, there'll be a bank of ATM machines. ATM machines are probably even more prevalent than they are at home. They're everywhere. And cards from home, credit cards, bank cards, all work just fine. Um, the one thing I'll note about taking money out in Thailand, though, is that the bank machine, the bank itself, charges a pretty hefty fee for withdrawals. In fact, it ranges between 230 and 250 Thai baht per withdrawal. That's like $10 Canadian. I find, and then whatever your bank charges on top of that. So my suggestion always to folks coming to visit is take a larger amount out, put the money in your safe deposit, like in your room in the little safe. Take out a couple of $100 so you're not going too frequently because you just don't want to be feeding the bank all that money. There's just no point. The Wise card is what we recommend in lieu of using your bank cards at home. Honestly, the moment I leave Canadian soil, I pull out my Wise card. I don't even bother with my cards from home because you get a much better exchange rate. In fact, we use this for all commercial transactions. We use Wise. This really is the card of the future for travelers. You can put a bunch of money onto it in Canadian dollars. It'll show a balance in whatever currency that you've got. You don't even have to. You can proactively change currencies. Honestly, I just leave it in Canadian dollars, and every transaction you make, debit transaction, credit transaction, will be at better exchange rates than certainly I've seen of any bank or credit card in Canada. So that's kind of what the again, pro tip for the travelers that go all the time. I don't even know what life was like before a Wise card came along. I think it's a great thing. If you don't already have one, there's still barely enough time to get one. A physical card typically takes 2 to 3 weeks to get sent, and it looks like this here. And you can use it, and the first $300 of withdrawals are free of card charges. The bank machine, unfortunately, in Thailand is going to charge you no matter what. Unfortunately, you can't get around that. But at least you don't have to pay the bank fees on top of that. Um, you mentioned gratuities, Kathleen, and so to be clear, you've prepaid gratuities for all the services that Wheel and Anchor provides. So all the guides, drivers, any tips in restaurants, any of the tips that are part of the services that are provided by us for you are already taken care of, and Kathleen has a fund of tips to look after all of that. So the only thing that you need to tip for is when you go out on your own, for example, for dinner. And obviously, being a live away, there are lots of opportunities to go out on your own. Thailand is like this. Sometimes there's a service charge on the bill. If you go to the bigger restaurants or the hotels, the hotel restaurants, there'll be a 10% service charge on the bill, in which case there's no tip required. It's already built in. More modest places, there'll be no tip. There'll be sometimes a tip box. but it's not like at home where they're expecting 15, 18, 20, I don't know, 25% these days. It's not like that at all. You can round up. You can leave a dollar or two. I typically, if I'm out buying a coffee and a croissant or something, I leave them 20 baht, which is about a buck. I'll stuff it in the little tip jar. That's what you need to do. At nicer restaurants, you might round up a little bit, but in no event would you need to tip more than about 10%. That's considered quite generous in Thailand. The Thais don't tip. So it's not a local custom to tip. This is strictly a tourist thing. Um, Good. Mobile communications. Do you want to touch on this, Kathleen? And once again, I'll fill
Oh,
in
sure.
whatever other blanks.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have some folks coming on the pre-trip, and for that one, we are not providing the SIM, but we'll be provided with a physical SIM once you get to Koh Samui. Maybe if everybody on Telegram would let me know if they need a physical one, because a lot of people are now getting the eSIMs, which are also
eSIM.
great. Yeah. There should be Wi-Fi almost everywhere we go, but having mobile data is so helpful because once you have Telegram installed or even WhatsApp, you can get a hold of me if you get lost. And that does happen. So it's also great because whenever we're on excursions or doing days out, I keep in touch with you on Telegram when we have free time, and I send little points for meetups for or if there's any changes in ferry times, etc., that kind of thing. So um, just back to Telegram, if you could get that installed and try it out before you go, that would be so helpful.
Yeah,
And
Telegram's a must. Yeah.
yeah, and I'll be there to help you with the physical SIM cards once we get there.
Exactly. Kathleen will be there. She'll have the little tool to help you open it. And because
Yeah,
I know, most folks at home, why would you ever bother changing your SIM card? So it's a bit daunting. It's quite simple.
yeah.
And so, as Kathleen said, we'll provide the physical SIM card. We cannot provide eSIM cards, quite honestly, because there are there's a myriad of providers out there. The market is still flooded with every Tom, Dick, and Harry. And I quite honestly have not ascertained what is the optimal card because every country is a bit different in terms of the eSIMs that work and how well they work. So I've tried myself, I don't know, at 7, 8 different eSIM providers, depending on what part of the world. I've had positive experiences. I've had not so positive experiences. That's why we give you a physical SIM card. Most phones still do take physical SIM cards. I think maybe the newest of the new iPhones and maybe some of the newest Android phones don't take them anymore, in which case you have to get a physical SIM. Um, you can get a prepaid physical eSIM as well, but you'd have to go to the mobile phone shop yourself to arrange that if you don't do it online. That's why we're not able to provide the eSIMs. It's just it's too convoluted a process. We can't manage it.
Yeah, they're
Um,
bought and put right into. Just another thought too is something
mhm.
new that I noticed after my last trip is that if you're with Bell and Rogers, and I think some other programs as well, they now have travel plans where you can
Yeah,
use your phone like home. So I know for Rogers for a month it's approximately $110, which is so much cheaper than Roam Like Home. So that's
yeah.
another option, which is not covered by Wheel and Anchor, of course. But if you like to use your phone like you do at home, that's a great option.
That's the option.
Yeah,
Here, let me give you the insider tip again, as some of you who traveled with us before know as well. When you put a different SIM card in, the SIM card is your phone number.
yeah,
So if you take out your SIM card from home, you're taking out your phone number, you're putting in a new SIM card, and a lot of them are data only, so there's no phone number associated with it. And in Canada, a lot of people still send text messages. I have to tell you something, which is that the rest of the world doesn't use text messages anymore. But
nope.
only in Canada and the USA, we are a little outdated. Everybody still, yeah, and I say that with all due respect and with a grain of salt. Pretty much everybody else in the world is on digital messaging, WhatsApp, Signal, Telegram, like we use. Messenger, iMessage, all those things are data. based messaging system. So when you put in another SIM card, like the one that we're going to give you, you can, well, you, no, you cannot text home anymore. So you'd have to communicate with your friends and family by email or by WhatsApp or by one of the myriad of other messaging providers, but the texting won't work anymore. I have had members in the past who've said, "Well, I've got a sick father and he only knows how to text and all the rest of it." Well, in those cases, you may just have to bite the bullet and take one of the overpriced Canadian mobile travel plans. And as you said, Kathleen, they're getting better. They're still,
Yeah, this is a new option I
they're
just
still
found.
triple the price they should be, but they're better than they were before.
Mhm.
Perfect. Let's move on. Just going to say a couple things about health protocols. I'll keep this very brief. Just three things. One, first of all, our trips are non-smoking, which means, by all means, if you like to, enjoy smoking on your own time, we just ask not around other members or in the course of any activities that we do with Wheel and Anchor. That is much appreciated. Secondly, it's flu season. It seems like I had a nasty cold while I was in Canada over Christmas. And it seems like every other person I know has got one. If you have any kind of a cold or the flu or whatever it happens to be, coughing, sneezing, any symptoms, please, please, please wear a mask whenever you're around other group members. And, when you're out in public in general, you'll find in Asia, in Thailand, just like in the rest of Asia, that's what they do. You see people wearing masks because they're ill and they don't want to infect anybody. We still have bad trauma from the pandemic, and nobody likes masks, myself included, but it is the right thing to do. So please do, mention to Kathleen if you're not feeling well, and please do wear a mask. You can buy them everywhere here. So you don't even need to bring one. Every 7-Eleven, every corner store has masks here. So it's easy to find. The last point is, if you should injure yourself, and it happens easily here, you can stub your toe, you can scrape your, leg or something like that on somewhere. Minor accidents, but what is a minor accident, we still treat with a certain degree of care. We mention it to Kathleen. We tend to suggest that you go and see a clinic. Your travel insurance will cover it anyway, although clinics here tend to be super cheap. I just pay cash because it's not even worth the hassle of filling in the claim. Have it looked at. Particularly scrapes or anything like that. In tropical climates, infections happen quicker than you think. And while, we have beautiful blue ocean around here, it's not necessarily everywhere always the cleanest. A little bit of bacteria can get here or there. So I'm just saying, if anything happens, mention it to Kathleen. We'll find you a clinic. We'll find you something to happen. We just want to make sure you get back home in the same condition that you arrived in. Um, Good. Let's
Yeah,
jump
and
into the logistics,
I was just going to say on another note, I'm an
please.
occupational therapist, so I do know a little bit about healthcare. So I think we're in
Mm,
good hands.
Amazing. Kathleen, you're in good hands with Kathleen. So let's fast forward to your arrival. For those of you who are going on the pre-trip, you're going to be arriving into Bangkok on the 27th of January, or maybe you're coming in a bit earlier if you've decided to do a couple extra nights on your own. Um, the trip to Thailand is long. I don't need to tell you that. You know how long it is. I just did it. I flew the long way around. I flew via India, so I think it took me 40 hours to get here. Um, it's a long trip, and it's a 12-hour time difference between here and the Eastern time zone, 15 if you're out in Vancouver. Um, so first of all, pay attention to your phone and your emails in the 24 hours before you leave, because the airlines are pretty good. When they know there's going to be a delay, they'll let you know in advance, and it just helps you prepare and communicate anything that might be necessary. Um, get ready for the trip. I tell you, compression socks are great. Be comfortable on the flight, drink lots of water, and try to get as much sleep. You might consider using a jet lag mitigation app. Some of our members use something called timeshifter.com. Some people swear by it. It shifts your schedule in the days leading up to the trip, which allows your circadian clock to adjust a bit to the new time zone, so that you're a little bit less out of it for the first couple of days. I'm on day two. I'm still out of it. In fact, I'm surprised I'm still awake at this hour, but it's all good. You'll get over it. And when you then arrive into Bangkok, it is a big airport. So be prepared. I always end up at the gate that is, there's a sign that says immigration 500 meters away. It's a big airport. But bear with it. It's actually remarkably organized. You'll come in, you'll pass through immigration and collect your luggage and be met in the arrival hall, which is organized chaos, maybe more chaos than organized. And so there are a myriad of people there, drivers and all the rest of it. So take a deep breath and just look around. You will find your driver. They'll have your name on a sign, or maybe it'll say wheel and anchor. But it could also say something else, because sometimes the transfer company is contracted by somebody else. And just look for your name. Be patient. If you don't find them, if you're arriving on the first day and the transfer is provided by us, if you don't find your driver within 10 minutes or so of coming out into the hall, you'll have already set up you'll already connected to Wi-Fi, or you'll have your, if you're using an eSIM, you'll have that activated, and send a note to Kathleen and she'll help you get in touch with your driver. We haven't left anybody behind at the airport before. But patience is required in Bangkok. And then the same thing applies for those who are arriving directly into Koh Samui for the main trip. Koh Samui, on the other hand, I was talking to friends of mine who characterize it as the most beautiful airport in the world. It's all open air. It's all outside. There's beautiful gardens. They pick you up in what's like a giant golf cart from the airplane, and it's kind of cool. So you won't get lost there. There's only one way out. You will be met, you will be brought to your respective hotels, of course, in Bangkok, out to the Anantara for the beginning of the pre-trip, and then in Koh Samui over to the Muang Spa Resort. And the drivers, as with, don't speak a lot of English, so have patience in Thailand. Yeah, considering how much of a tourist country it is, you'll find that the level of in the hotels, in most of the restaurants, no problem. In the shops, generally no problem. But drivers, people on the street, you'll be surprised how little English that a lot of the general population speaks, which is kind of a nice thing. I think you don't just anticipate that everybody's going to speak English, which is why having your phone with a mobile plan is always good, because Google Translate can be, I use it here all the time. Um, yeah. Okay. So that's that. That's arrival, coming in, Bangkok, Koh Samui. Let's touch on the program. Obviously, for those of you doing the pre-program, you've got Bangkok and Chiang Mai. Particularly Chiang Mai. Oh, it's such an awesome city. I'll tell you a little bit about it in a second. And then for the main part of the trip, this is the island of Koh Samui. The airport is up here in the northeast part of the island. The hotel is maybe not even 15 minutes drive away, on this beach up here. And we'll tell you about that, because of course the hotel changed, as you know, from what we advised not that long ago. I'm actually really excited for you, because the hotel is really, really nice. Yeah, so I'll talk about a couple of the highlights. For your pre-trip in Bangkok, you've got a few nights there. You're staying at the beautiful Anantara Riverside. Your welcome cocktail will set the stage as you look out over the city. Such a beautiful spot. You're going to be going out in Bangkok to see some of the major highlights, like the Grand Palace, like Wat Arun, the giant reclining golden blue Buddha. Some amazing sights that you're going to witness in Bangkok. You're also going to get a chance to go out to the floating markets and the railway market. It's a busy city, but it's that being said, Bangkok is completely safe. Like, I've never heard of anything happening to anyone in Bangkok. However, I always suggest in any city is just be mindful of your belongings. But I've never heard of anybody getting pickpocketed or anything sort of negative happening in Bangkok. Chiang Mai, the walled city. uh, from the Lana Empire. You'll hear all about it from Knock, your guide there, who's just a lovely, lovely lady. Yeah, I absolutely adore this city. You're staying right in the heart of the old town. It's surrounded by a big moat, which is a mile by a mile, and walking distance to some of the markets, the most spectacular temples. You're really, really going to enjoy Chiang Mai. This is the better place, arguably the best place for shopping on the trip. There's some stuff you can buy for sure in Koh Samui. There's markets and so on, but for interesting, be it textiles, be it, housewares or just general souvenirs, Chiang Mai is where you want to leave a little room in your luggage. You're going to come down to Koh Samui and arrive then to stay in the Royal Muang Spa. Now, as you know, we changed to the sister hotel because when we showed up there a month ago, and they were still under construction for the renovation. Yeah, tell me about the heart attack that I just about had. But the bottom line is, thankfully, I know the owners. It's a family-owned organization, and so and they love us. We've come back a few years in a row now, so we got to go to their upscale sister hotel. And it is a lovely property on a beautiful beach. The neighborhood, the area is quieter than Chaweng, which is in the vibrant thick of things. There's a shuttle bus going back all the time. You'll do all of that with Kathleen as well as with Nina, who is our fabulous. She won the Best Guide in Thailand award a number of years ago. You'll cover all that stuff. You will enjoy the property. It's going to be amazing. I'm very excited for you, to be quite honest. I wish I was here. And you're going to go on a couple of different excursions that you're there. Ang Thong Marine Park. It's a pretty long speedboat ride. It's about an hour and 15 minutes, but you come out into this UNESCO archipelago of islands. This is the view from one of the viewpoints for those that want to climb up. You'll make a couple of stops out here. You'll do some snorkeling. It's just magnificent countryside. You'll have a chance to visit the Elephant Kingdom, and this is one of the places where I think that they really do look after the elephants well, and they're mindful of the human animal interaction, which is such an important and sensitive topic, but it's always a highlight. You will hear a little bit about the Buddhist culture, Buddhist religion. Well, it's not really a religion. Again, I'll let them explain how Buddhism works and what it's all about, and the temples, and you'll have a chance to talk to some of the monks at this incredible temple that you see pictured here. This is again a fantastic experience, and of course the food. I recommend eating Thai food every day, although there's tons of restaurants there. So from just about all cuisines around the world. But Thai food, sometimes you go to the gritty place on the side of the road with the plastic chairs, and you will have some of the best Thai food that you have ever had in your life. So just because it's at the side of the road and there's a busy traffic and all the rest of it, if it's packed full of people, it's for a reason. Try it out. And not to mention, you'll probably be able to stuff yourself silly for about $5. So it's embrace it, love it. You're going to also come over to my island here by Longtail. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be here to receive you, but you're going to visit Bottle Beach, which is pictured here, and a couple of other of my favorite beaches. You're going to have a wonderful lunch on the beach. This is it's a great little excursion that you will enjoy thoroughly. And back in Samui, for those that wish, there's a little hot waterfall up to Hin Lad. This is a beautiful spot. You can't even get to the end. I've never even made it all the way to the top of the waterfall. It goes from miles into the middle of the island. It's quite a spot. Lots of things are in store for you. I've done enough talking now for the last 40 minutes. Is there any questions? I haven't seen any questions come in so far. So either I'm doing too much talking, or we've done a good job, Kathleen, of providing all the
Well,
information. Does
um,
anybody yeah,
I'm
go
just
ahead,
going to
Kathleen.
add something about the Wise card. I did
Yes.
some looking into it, and it does take a couple of weeks to get the physical card, but you can
Hmm.
add the digital card almost immediately, and
Hmm.
you can use it with Apple Pay or Google. But if you want the physical card faster, they said you can order it within 2 days if you pay $15.
Oh, okay. So a little courier fee and you've
Oh,
got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
The
helpful.
Wise card is once you've had a Wise card and used it, because you can just
I love it.
transfer money from one currency to another. It's a game changer.
Yeah,
It's a
I
game
love it.
changer. Good. All right. Any other questions? Going once, going twice. Oh my God, we've done too good of a job. Wow. All right. No questions. Wow, it'll be the first webinar in a long time where I haven't had any questions. If you do have a question, because of course you'll probably think of the question 2 minutes after the webinar is over, please drop us a note. You're welcome to send a Telegram message to Kathleen. In fact, that's a good excuse to get the Telegram set up right away.
Yeah.
If you have anything about the daily flow or the logistics, if you've got questions, any other questions about your booking or your flights or whatever, drop a note to Melody. Her email is here, melody@wheelandanchor.ca. And we obviously are determined to make sure all of your questions are answered, that you have everything you need for your trip. And yeah, otherwise, as I say, I'm excited for you, that you're coming here to what is effectively my home. I just won't be home when you arrive this time around.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And still no questions. A copy of this webinar is going to get emailed to everybody on the trip. So, can you please repeat Kathleen's Telegram address? We can. Kathleen, would you maybe type it in the chat box? Make sure you click on everyone, click on the little blue menu bar and click on everyone. And so Kathleen will type it in to the chat box so that you can see it. And it is also in the trip information pack of stuff that we sent out before. So you'll find it there as well. Just wait.
Did it show up?
I haven't seen it yet. Oh yeah. Okay. It showed up here in the Q&A. That's okay. I will put it in the chat. No problem. Chat. I'm going to put it in the chat box for everybody here. Boom. So here it is. It's in the chat box. Yeah. So
Oh, there. Okay, great. Yeah,
yeah,
thanks.
at cat_Adams is Kathleen's number. And boom, and that's it. Okay, well, I'm not going to keep you any longer, and it's now 1:45 my time, and I'm going to bed. So
Good.
thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for placing your trust in us and joining us on this amazing live away. I think this is our 4th year running, and it's always a hit. Everybody loves their experience here. I'm sure you will too, and I look forward to getting your feedback when you come back from the trip. So have a wonderful day, everybody. Stay warm until you get here, and then you're going to be plenty warm enough. Oh, another question popped in. Aha, see? Oh, okay. You're welcome, Kim. Yes, thank you. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. All right. That's it from me. Take care, everybody, and
Yeah.
bon voyage.
Bye-bye, everybody. I look forward to seeing you on the other side of the world, and I'm really looking forward to having a good time with you all. And good night, Gordon. Sleep well.
I will. Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.